Warning, this story will bend your brain. It's about a dead wife, a drunken janitor, and tiny aliens from another dimension. If you're one of those people who's not here for a long time, if you're here for a good time, yeah, go ahead and keep listening. You're not going to believe this shit. Otherwise, remember that the distance between the top of your head and the void's edge is paper thin. Hank's Microwave, Chapter 3, First Contact. Hank had that recurring dream about Mabel. The one about the first day they met in the high school's back parking lot. She was a school bus driver. He, the janitor. It was around 6:30 at night and he'd just finished his shift. He left the building and saw her immediately, across the parking lot, under a slate gray sky, leaning on her Honda Civic. She smoked a cigarette, a tough little thing in the evening light, when the sun was at that dusk angle that fills you with adventure. She tossed her blonde hair to the side and looked at him as he approached. Her battery was dead, and she was waiting for anyone to come by. He walked up, noticing her hood. He also noticed that she looked like trouble, the fun kind of trouble. "Need a hand?" he said. "Oh, yes, thank you," she said. "Battery's dead. I got cables." Sure," he said. "I'll get my truck. It's just over there." He nosed his old pickup truck to her Honda Civic. She guided him in with her hand, pink nail polish. She gave him the fist to stop him. He stopped and left it running and popped the hood and climbed out. He walked to the front of the truck and saw her bent over her car, putting the cables on. She felt his eyes on her ass and smiled and lingered there for a moment and straightened and looked under his hood. 351 Cleveland, she said. Nice. She held out the jumper cables for him innocently. He smiled, impressed, and took the cables and hooked them on his battery. "Let's give it a minute," he said. "Oh, I know," she said. She winked at him, pinching up her cheek. A digital beep stabbed the scene. She looked at him lovingly and said, "Better get going, big rig." The beep was his alarm clock, dragging him back to the real world. He woke with a groan. For some reason he could not put a finger on, he felt like he was being watched. Maybe all those old Milwaukees were giving him paranoia. He did his morning routine and packed his lunch and filled his thermos and left. The screen door slammed behind him. The Morp crept out from their hiding places. From behind the grandfather clock in the bookcase, the coffee cup in the dining room, the mini blinds. From under the couch in the TV cabinet. From inside the dying ficus in the corner. Hank had promised Mabel he'd water that. From behind a framed photo of Hank and Mabel with their heroes, Thunder Mason and Lexi Steelheart. The photo was taken a cold winter day at the MVP Arena in Albany. She got them tickets for Christmas to the Slamageddon Showdown. Mabel had smooth-talked their way back into the VIP area. She was really good at that. And they got close enough and took that photo, the two of them posing with their heroes. Goofy smiles. The Morp crept into the dusty sunlight and gathered on the coffee table in the living room. "Tinker has a plan, everyone," said Gydra. "Go ahead, Tinker." "Ventrix and I will go into the telecast device and deep scan all of its parts. All of it. The main board layout, the signal pathways, the microcontrollers and memory chips, the video processing unit and data buses. The works. There we will find a way to broadcast our message to Hank." "Great. What will the rest of us do?" asked Quibbly. "We need to keep foraging for food and learning everything we can to help us get back home." "Vera," said Gydra, "break the others into foraging and recon units. I'll stay with Tinker and Ventrix and assist how I can." The Morps set to their work, some of them grumbling. It didn't take long for Tinker to find something that piqued his interest. He scanned above him carefully and then read the results. "Yes," he said, What is it? Said Gydra. Yes, we can inject the data signal into the video processing unit. Here, he pointed with his jelly finger. They had the technology. Tinker set to work on the technical details with Ventrix. Now they needed a story. Well, we have the characters, said Vera at the creative team session. She leaned on the Cheeto. His warrior heroes, those Thunder Mason and Lexi characters. The AI can recreate them easily. Grumble giggled. Gydra ignored him. Yes, that is good. We can use those wrestling characters. But what do they say? He is a terrible mess. We need to help him send us back to our mothership. But what good can he even do in this state? We'll fix him, said Vera. We'll help him with his grief. In the process, we can earn his trust and establish first contact. That's good, said Gydra. Then he will be more open and able to help us after we help him. Exactly. They set to work, putting together the plot lines for Hank's TV story time. The screen door slammed behind Hank at about 6:30 p.m. He lumbered into the kitchen and belched and tossed out his lunch in the garbage. Scratching his ass, he grabbed the beer from the fridge and went to the bedroom and peeled off his janitor overalls. A framed picture of Mabel watched him from the top of his dresser. She was in a dress in that picture, a rare occasion, his cousin's wedding. Yeah, I know, he said to her picture. I'm having more beer, but I've been working my hole off. That new kid from management has been really riding my ass. He escaped her gaze and shuffled to the kitchen with his beer and made a TV dinner, Salisbury steak. He brought his dinner into the living room and set up his tray and turned on the TV and took a slug of beer. The opening sequence for Friday Night Fury blasted from the TV screen. Big text titles and lightning strikes. The music, grand and full of brass. A montage of atomic elbows, drop kicks, body slams, and pile drivers paraded behind the credits. Wrestling fans, it's time for Friday Night Fury, said Jimmy Blaze in a plaid blazer. That's right, said Big Lenny. And do we have a lineup for you tonight? We got the Duke of Slamchester and Rex Savage. And a dynamic duo couple everyone loves, Thunder Mason and Lexi Steelheart. Nice, said Hank. He forked into dinner and took another slug of Old Milwaukee. This is going to be good. He wasn't wrong. It was a Friday Night Fury for the ages. It started with the Laplanders versus the Leprechauns. A pale-skinned, pint-sized tag team match complete with wooden clogs, Lucky Charms, and furious leg sweeps. After that, it was the Miami Mauler versus the California Kid. The Mauler came out hot, hitting the Kid with a flying clothesline. But the Kid got a second wind in his darkest moment and finished off Miami with a diving shoulder block. The crowd went wild. Hank was 5 beer in by the time Lexi Steelheart came strutting out to her theme song, Molten Steel. Her hair luminescent under the pyrotechnic sparks. Her nemesis for the evening was the Voltage Vixen, whose finishing move was the Electrifier. A diving knee drop from the top turnbuckle. Lexi's gonna have to look out for that, thought Hank. Lexi, resplendent in the ring. She did her entrance lap, her arms extended to thousands of cheering fans and their glowing mobile phones. She had one of those Hollywood smiles cast from the fender molds of a Bel Air or a Buick. Candy red lipstick and lots of teeth. Lexi is looking good tonight, eh, Lenny? She sure does, Jimmy. And she'll have her hands full with the Voltage Vixen. That Electrifier can be deadly, as we saw in Detroit last week. You said that right, Big Lenny. The camera flipped backstage, where Thunder watched Lexi nervously in a locker room. He paced furiously and shook his fist at the Voltage Vixen. Smash cut back to the arena. The house lights switched off for the Voltage Vixen's entrance. The whole place went crazy. Thunder and lightning flashes from the jumbotrons and the PA. She came running out with the spotlight on her. It's all very intense. "What the fuck?" said Hank. He was pissed that Lexi didn't get the grand entrance. He polished off his beer and cracked open another. Round 1. 2 bedazzled blonde women in spandex cast suits stalked each other. The crowd cheered and whistled, holding signs and clowning for the camera. The Voltage Vixen threw a front face lock on Lexi before she could respond and spun her into a suplex. Lexi crashed on the mat hard and rolled to avoid the Vixen's atomic elbow. "Gah, come on," said Hank. The camera snapped back to the locker room on Thunder. He had the same reaction. Back in the ring, the 2 women flew at each other under the roar of the crowd. The atmosphere in the arena was electric and enormous. Sodium lights cast long shadows in the rafters, and in the center, all the spotlights on the ring, a luminous centerpiece of sex and violence. The women's blonde hair flew as they grappled and fought one another. The Vixen got in a nasty clothesline and the crowd roared. But Lexi came from the steel mills. It was going to take more than that. She quickly rolled to avoid a flying knee and recovered for another assault. Hank rose from his seat. He yelled at the TV and took a slug of beer and sat back down. The 2 women circled each other in the ring, jeering at one another. The crowd, a steady roar. Lexi and the Vixen lunged at each other simultaneously and interlocked. Hands gripped behind necks, elbows locked. They both shook in rage and exertion. Lexi was strong and started getting the upper hand, but the Voltage Vixen was tricky, and she sideslipped out of the grapple and managed to trip Lexi as they disengaged. Lexi pinwheeled and fell back, and the Vixen swept in without mercy and delivered a flying knee to Lexi's skull. "No," said Thunder Mason on the backstage camera. Lexi was down on all fours on the mat, dazed. She aimlessly crawled about. "Shit! Get up!" yelled Hank. The Voltage Vixen had a beautiful setup and she knew it. With a wicked smile, she strutted to the corner and climbed to the top turnbuckle. And there, from her high perch on the top rope, she extended her arms, a moon goddess greeting her flock. She eyed up her victim below, and then launched herself, flying through the air. The electrifier flying knee drop hit Lexi square on her head hard. So hard, it knocked her out. For real. "No!" Thunder Mason ran out from his locker room. A Steadicam operator followed him, running down the cinder block hallways of the backstage, out into the dark arena section, into the runway, through the crowd to the ring. He swept in. Hank sat upright, riveted, beer in hand. The paramedics were already there, and they were tending to Lexi, for real. They gently slid the stretcher under her. The crowd quieted. The announcers did their best to smooth over the situation with a veneer of banter. "Well, it looks like Lexi will be needing immediate medical attention, Jimmy." "Yes, Big Lenny. It was bad enough that she took that first shot to the head, but then the other. It was just too much." "Okay, they're taking out the stretcher now, Jimmy. And Thunder's just losing his mind out there. Security is swarming him now, holding him back. Which is for the best, really, so the professionals can get her out of here and to the hospital quickly as possible." "What a terrible turn of events, Lenny. We'll be sure to keep everyone posted on Lexi and keep her in our thoughts. Let's take a quick break so everyone can reset for the rest of Friday Night Fury. Stay tuned, everyone." Commercials. Hank flung himself off the couch. "God damn," he said. "She better be okay. What's Thunder gonna do?" Then the worst thing that could happen on a Friday night happened to Hank. His TV went off. Poof. It just went black on him. "God damn it," said Hank. "That's just great. Now what?" He cursed profusely. He threw a beer can across the room and was ready to lumber over to the TV when it popped back on. The screen flickered for a moment, and then it was fully back. Friday Night Fury. The camera was backstage by then. We were back with Thunder Mason. He looked trapped in his locker room. He paced like a caged animal. His match with Brick Dalton was still on, you see, and Hank knew the deal. The show must go on. But this time was different. This time, he didn't have his woman there with him, supporting him. And he didn't even know if she was okay. He raged at his cell phone and felt as though he couldn't continue. He felt as though he was lost, alone. Lexi was always there by his side. He felt as though he'd be fighting with one arm. Distraught, he lumbered to his locker and opened it, and there, the Morp. His eyes could not comprehend their little gelatinous humanoid bodies, their various tentacles and antennae, each of them about as tall as one of Mabel's nail polish bottles, and in as many colors: pink, yellow, green, purple. They stood on his locker shelf, staring at him in all their weird shapes, with their little blinking eyes. What the? Thunder leapt back. Hank did the same. Thunder, it's okay, said a pink one with whiskers and a little white belt. It was Gydra. We come in peace. She was using her AFT to boost her voice to a level that he could hear. What the fuck? You talk? Really, it's okay. We don't mean any harm. We want to help you. They all looked up at him, gelatinous and smiling. What the fuck are you? We are the Morp. We're from another dimension. It's a long story. Look, that's not important right now. You've got a big match coming up. Time is short. But you need to know this, Thunder. You've given Lexi all the love you could, in the best way that you could. She will be okay, especially with your support. You can do this on your own. Even though it's strange to be alone, but you can do this. There are better times beyond this. You can't make her proud by just feeling sorry for yourself. Thunder thought for a moment, listening to the crowd out there. You know, he said, you're right. I don't know what the hell you things are, but you do make a good point. One more thing, Thunder, if we may, said Gydra. Sure, I guess, said Thunder. All of your fans should know that we are the Morp, and we come in friendship and peace, and only seek mutual benefit. The camera zoomed out slowly, giving everyone a wide angle of the Morp standing there in all their assorted colors and gelatinous shapes. They all waved and smiled. Ravix bounced up from a fossilized Cheeto and saluted at the camera. Hank chuckled. He said, What the fuck? Hank, said Gydra into the camera. She was looking right at him. Hank felt a bolt of hot adrenaline scorch through him. He said, What? Me? Yes, you, Hank. We need your help. Just like Thunder here. Could you help us? Just what in hell is this? Said Hank. Hank, it's us, the Morp. We are among you. We just need your help getting back to our mothership through your cooking portal. Among me? I must be losing my goddamn mind. He rubbed his head and looked at his beer and looked around the room, lost. You're not, Hank. Vera stepped in. She was getting nervous that it wasn't going well. And she was right. I know it's really hard to believe, but we somehow ended up in your kitchen, Hank. We don't know how we got here either, but here we are, and we really do need your help. I know we look strange, but we can explain, and I can assure you that we are harmless. We have performed every biological and atmospheric and spectric level scan and see no counteractions that should raise any alarms. They were losing him again. They could tell. He was entering full panic mode and starting to hyperventilate. No telling what he'd do then. They needed a distraction.
Hank, listen, said Maloon. We know about Mabel. Sorry about that, by the way. But we can help. We have something to show you about her.
Hank turned off the TV and threw the remote and stormed to his bedroom and slammed the door.